Hello, everyone. My name is Olivia Pounds, and I'm going to be presenting on teen pregnancy in American culture and society and disparities between Latino, African American, and Caucasian communities. So my thesis was that there are multiple economic, social, and cultural factors that impact the high rate of teen pregnancies in the U.S., and that they are different in each of these people groups. So some background is historically the U.S. has played a key role in the conversation of women's health and in the big decision that was come to in Roe v. Wade. There was two standards that were made, and it was to protect women's health and protect the potentiality of life. So if we say that we have these standards, then the topic of teen pregnancy must be addressed. So why it matters is teen mothers are highly at risk of dropping out of school, remaining unmarried, and living in poverty, and their kids are also at great disadvantage because of lower levels of attainment scores in kindergarten and behavioral issues and issues that will follow them into adolescence and young adulthood. So the traditional solutions to this are contraception and sex education. Yes, those are important, but there are social and economic factors that are different in these varying communities that would explain why some groups are more effective than others. The Latino community is the most effective, followed by African American, and then Caucasian. So we're going to look at what characteristics exist in each of these communities that change the way to which they are impacted. Latino teen pregnancy rates are double the national average, and considering the vast cultural background, we've come to a common thread throughout the community that of their values, and they value motherhood. There's a huge influence of family and family communication, the impacts of religion, and the process of acculturation. So the value of motherhood is held in high regard in Latino culture, and this normally just means that they value pregnancy and motherhood more than other people groups, and this transcends to the Latina teenage girls desiring pregnancy more than teenage girls from other people groups. The influence of family and family communication is a huge part of a teenager's decision to engage in sex or not. 49% of teens stated that their parents have the strongest influence in their decisions about sex. And they have expressed that if they avoid contraception, it's for fear that their parents will find out. Impact of religion: a huge percentage of Latinos are Christian, and the religious values of the family greatly influence the teen's decision to have sex or not. And the religious belief of this community has a direct impact on how they approach topics like premarital sex, contraception, and abortion. And it's found that teenage girls are the only group that avoids using contraception due to a current religion. Acculturation is a process of assimilating to a different culture, typically the dominant one, and it creates a phenomenon where teens are stuck between two cultures and identities, and it increases the chance of teen pregnancy by 17%. In the African American community, their rates of teen pregnancy are lower than Hispanic community, but still high enough to warrant concern. And the major social and cultural context of this is the alarmingly high rates of declining economic prospects for African American men and women. There is a direct link between poverty and the number of teen pregnancies in a city, and growing up in an environment that lacks educational or economic opportunities creates an atmosphere of hopelessness. So a quote by Paul and Loretta Winters is, "The structure of American social system, through its practices of institutional racism, is designed to create the alleged pathology of the community to perpetuate the social disorganization model of Black life. Girls that grow up in poverty or a single-parent home are twice as likely to have a teen birth than girls that do not experience these disadvantages." Quote to explain this is, "The combination of being poor and living in a more unequal society contributes to a low perception of possible economic success, and hence leads to choices that favor short-term satisfaction, and in this case, have a baby when young and unmarried." Beyond poverty, there's just the issue of joblessness in the African community. It outweighs the effects of poverty because crime, family dissolution, welfare, low levels of social organization, and other problems in the inner city ghetto neighborhoods are the outcome of vanishing jobs. Lack of employment opportunity leads to unstable relationships, declining family structure, and more children born outside of marriage. Beyond just economic impacts, there's a public perception of teen pregnancy within the African American community. They're less likely to feel embarrassment about teen pregnancy, and there's the idea that if it's more widespread, then it is more accepted. In the Caucasian community, they are the girls that are least impacted by teen pregnancy of the three groups studied. And this is thought to be because of the economic and educational opportunities of their parents. Levels of college graduation are almost twice as high for Caucasians compared to Hispanics and African Americans. Daughters with mothers that have dropped out of school have a 33% chance of becoming pregnant. However, daughters of women who have received at least some college education have a chance of getting pregnant about 1/3 that rate. There are disparities in income levels between Caucasians, African Americans, and Hispanics. For every dollar of income Caucasians receive, Hispanics earn 70 cents, African Americans 59. To better assess the inequalities, wealth is a better indicator. And it is said that because wealth facilitates the ability of a household to both plan for the future and cushion shortfalls in income. For every dollar of wealth that Caucasians have, African Americans have 6 cents and Hispanics have 7 cents. The Caucasian community typically does not experience as many stressors as minority people groups. Some stressors could include crime, violence, material deprivation, loss of loved ones, recurrent financial strain, relationship conflict, etc. And a quote to explain this is childhood poverty among racial minorities is concurrent with a greater concentration of other negative risk factors than among whites, and how multiple stressors combine at various points across the life course and accumulate to influence later health disparities. So in conclusion, teen pregnancy is a risk that all communities in the U.S. are susceptible to, and just talking about sex education and contraceptives is not fully going to help the issue, because there are cultural and social factors that go into this, and they're different for each people group because of their different value structures, levels of economic or educational achievements, and this just determines how negatively they could be impacted by this issue, and in the future need to be taken more into consideration. And this is a sign of a bigger problem that needs to be addressed. Thank you for listening.